Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 2 dropped, and there's a lot of new items as well as loads of new areas in the map to completely explore. However, the issue with all of these new fun items is when you're on the receiving end of them, like the sticky launcher and the knee breaker, it can be very infuriating. What a brilliant season we're playing, eh? So I'm going to be showing you guys 10 of the best drop spots. They're going to help you get these items, give yourself way more loot than competitors, going to help you win more games in ranked so you can drop high kills, as well as help you in tournaments that come out this season. And the best part of these spots are a lot of them, they can work as trio splits as well, which I'll explain in a second. Just quickly, in the last video, a load of people were asking about the Masterclass update. So I am working on the Fighting Masterclass 2.0, as well as the Solos Masterclass 7.0, and both will be dropped later this season. Just be patient, and it's going to be a massive update that's completely free for both of them. So let's go ahead and get straight into spot number 1. All right, to start things off with the bang, let me go ahead and tell you guys the best spot that I actually found this season, which is just here below Outlaw Oasis. If you guys have landed at any of these POIs, you probably know the fights are absolutely shambles. You're running around with no guns, you have no idea what's going on, you've got no shield the entire time. So what I'd recommend doing instead is land just a little bit down here to the south. Here at this dump truck spot that I'm going to call it, it's got 5 guaranteed 100% chest spawns, which is super nice. You also get a load of barrels very quickly as well, loads of metal in this area, and if you're playing a solo like stacked final, or even doing this in trios, you can very easily claim this entire back half of that. But normally what I'd recommend doing if you're just playing ranked, you know, drop a high kill game, is just come up to this gold river. As you can see, you're going to get the fast farming as well as you're going to get more pickaxe damage to get mats really quickly. You're going to be walking away just from this initial area with cap wood, cap brick, as well as like 350 metal. You can easily cap the metal here, and then you're going to be straight third partying into these POIs. Everybody's going to be running around with no shield or a little bit shambles, and you're going to be coming in with 1,000+ mats every single time, as well as oftentimes you'll get into a fight like I did in this clip above, where people just come ahead and start fighting you as you're looting up, which is again really nice because you've got so many mats just from this river. Genuinely, this is one of the best spots that I found this season, so make sure you guys try it out if you want to go ahead and drop high kill games, because of course you're third partying two of the busiest POIs with an insane amount of mats and really good loot, because all these chest spawns are 100%. All right, my next spot is insanely good. And if you guys watched one of my most recent videos where I was coaching Shark, who's an insanely underrated fighter on AU, he actually got 7th in the cash cup landing the spot, which is why I'm recommending to you guys. What you do is you drop right here onto this top chest where there's a 100% spawn rate, and you can go ahead and get these barrels very quickly, and then slide straight down into this underground bunker area. And this bunker area is absolutely insane. There's chests, barrels, everything. There's an insane amount of metal. If I just scan over this area, as you can see, there's actually 4,000 metal in this one little bit, and it is really quick to loot. From there, you can either go ahead and just come down to the south, get all these extra scrap chests that always get left behind by other people, or if you want to go ahead and W key, I would recommend just coming straight into Mars Meadows. And the perfect thing about this, because of how quick you are on spawn, getting like 8 or so chests every single game, you're gonna have a really good loadout, really good mats, and you're gonna be third partying just when people start the boss fight over at Mars Meadows, and you can third party straight in, or you can just clean up people who are a little bit shambles landing at this POI. Our next spot is a lot different than the previous 2 spots and the other spots that I'd recommend in this video, and it's just above Crime City. This isn't a spot I'd recommend if you're playing in a cash cup or something serious, but if you want to go ahead and just get really good loot, and especially if you've got an insane amount of gold, which I know I have at this point in the season, just from going ahead and playing ranked and killing people and opening safes and things like that, I've got like way over 3,000 gold. So I'd recommend doing, if you get a load of gold and you're not really sure how to spend it, land at this spot once every so hour or so of playing, and you're going to get really good loot very quickly. What you do is land at this little house right here. It's not the craziest house ever, as you can see. You can farm it out and get cat mats, but I wouldn't really bother doing that. But go straight ahead into this little bunker inside the hill. All you do is sneak in through this door right here, and what you're going to notice is there is a load of these purple guns that you can buy. You can get a purple pump, purple AR, cap shield instantly, as well as a couple barrels in here if you want to cap off your shield. And then from there is a toilet that takes you straight from inside this bunker into Crime City, like right here. So you're going to be popping out with purple pump, purple AR, and an insane amount of shield, and you're just going to go ahead and straight third partying people and straight fighting them. And again, this is one spot that you can do like every hour of playing ranked, and it is really satisfying. Like literally just dropping in within like a minute, having a purple pump, purple AR, fighting people with a massive advantage. You're basically never going to lose those fights with that loot, and it's going to set you up really nicely if you want to try to get like a god loadout throughout the game. And even if you want to do this spot and then go for the train, that's not the worst idea as well if you want to try and get the train mythic. All right, our next spot is a lot different than the previous spot. So if you're a player that likes to play a little bit more passive, you don't want to get fight straight away, or if you're playing a stack like solo cash cup, for example, it's going to be starting in a couple of weeks time, I would recommend landing at this spot. It's this little split down here towards the bottom right. First thing you want to go ahead and do is land either at this house, depending on your drop, or at this little south base, as you can see right here. And the best part about this spot is there's a load of pads that can take you around. You can very easily just hop from one island to the next and be very efficient on spawn. From there, as you can see, there is literally an insane amount of loot as well as mats in this area. However, the one thing I would recommend with this spot spot is if you're a passive player, play it in Storm. Similar to how you've seen a lot of like pro players last season in FNCS or Malabuka, for example, is they play Storm really early into the game. So what you can do is play Storm, get cap mats as well as extra chests at Kappa, or even a Hopeful, for example, and then rotate out with an insane amount of loot, really good and just stacked inventory every single time from doing this spot. And again, nobody's landing here. If I take a look at the heat map, like basically nobody's landing at these back islands in each game. So you're going to be very uncontested, and it's a very safe and passive spot if you're that type of player. But now let's move to a more aggressive spot. All right, this next spot is actually one that I recommended last season, but it got a massive buff at the start of new season, but I thought I'd be mentioning it again. It is this little beach hut split down here on the left-hand side of the map. The main reason it got a buff is, of course, you are much closer to being able to third party a really active POI where people are a little bit shambles, as you can see. And of course, it's got the same amount of really good loot, same amount of metal as before. You get over 1,000 metal, so it's really easy to get cap metal in solos or duos. But also the massive benefit of this spot, if you just don't want to go ahead and fight straight away, or maybe you're playing a more stack game, for example, there is literally all of this loot down here, which again, with the heat map on, literally is nobody landing or claiming this spot at all. So you're going to have an insane advantage in terms of just being as stacked as possible. And of course, you can third party these POIs. You can go fight people that are fighting in this little area down here, and you've got the gold river as well if you want to cap off your mats even more as you rotate towards the middle of the map. Genuinely one of the best spots this season. Make sure to try it out if you're not playing something a little bit more stacked. And also it's really good. Literally you can land, get like a shotgun shield, and just run straight over here and have a massive advantage on everybody within about 2 chests every single game. For our next spot, this is again another spot that's a little bit more passive. There's not too many people landing here. I did actually get contested in the clip in the background, but again, it's very simple to win. All you do need to have some knowledge where the floor spawns are in the building from landing here a couple times, and you have no trouble at all with winning this spot. Then the benefit of the spot is you have a lot of different options, which genuinely are one of my favorite things for an early game. Like if you see a lot of people landing in a particular area, like down to the south here, then you have the option of going into Floodgate, for example, or going up to the north, going into a PR. There's a lot of different things you can do with the spot. The main loot route that I'd recommend going ahead and doing, just sort of looting from this building over towards here, and then coming over towards this new underground vault right here. And you can either camp inside the vault and wait for somebody to come down, which again, nobody's going to be expecting you to be inside the vault that early into the game, especially if they're going ahead and looting over here. You can just sneak in and get a free kill, or very simply, just like earlier, you can land, get an insane amount of loot. You get a shrine as well, so you get blobs, which is really nice. You get like loads of extra shield with the blobs, since shield's a little bit hard to come by this season. Then all you need to go ahead and do is come straight down to Marshmallows and get fighting. However, this isn't, in my opinion, the best way of third-party Marshmallows, so this is a spot that I'd recommend doing. Playing in a more stacked tournament game where you want a lot of options, like landing here, going to get the shrine, going to get the vault, going to get north, and then going fishing. So a lot of different options you can do from this spot. The next drop, though, is, in my opinion, the best way of third-party Marshmallows. And the reason I keep saying to third-party this POI is because there is literally so many people here every single game. You're going to get non-stop fights, and it's one of the best spots just getting fighting practice versus a lot of different people. And it is, of course, this bamboo circle down here. It's pretty much unchanged from the last season, as you can see. You obviously get an insane amount of loot from actually landing in here, as well as, of course, there's loads of blobs running around. Only issue with it is you don't get metal. If you want to get metal and you're playing a more stacked tournament, you can very easily adapt this spot by coming down to the south, then rotating over here, or even just playing Storm to get metal, which is one of the best ways of doing it in a more stacked tournament. As you can see, there's loads of loot down here that nobody ever gets, nobody ever really lands on, as you can see. And if you want to go ahead and third party straight away, the absolute perfect thing with this spot is you'll get like a full god loadout with blobs and with loads of extra minis and stuff, and a good shotgun within around 1 minute of dropping, as well as cap mats very quickly, wooden brick, because it's really high yield from all the bamboo and the good rocks here. And you're going to be third partying straight into Marshmallows and getting a lot of kills doing it every single time. All right, for our next 2 spots, I'm going to be recommending you guys 2 different ways to play Crime City. Of course, Crime City is basically the main POI this season. There is loads of people landing here. There is an insane amount of just like 50-50s going on, and personally, I wouldn't recommend landing there. Again, FPS feels really bad when you land straight away and there's loads of people running around, so you're normally going to be losing fights and losing ranked points by landing at the spot. Instead, what I'm going to recommend is this spot over here. As you can see, you're going to get 6 chests straight away, and the main benefit is because of how quickly you can open these chests up. They're all on the same floor. It's very easy to loot, and you can easily get kills at the air with an AR. And what you can do is sprint or slide straight down this hill, get into the gold river, farm up cap, wood, and brick really quickly, like genuinely insanely quickly, and then go ahead and third party with 1,000 mats every single game. If you hate dying to spawn because you've got no mats and you just keep losing fights that you should be winning to worse players, do this spot. Literally just land here, get 1,000 wood and brick, and then come over and third party Crime City. You can have a way more fun time playing rank. And if you're doing this spot in a solo cash cup, you can very easily come up here, get the vault, go into this vault over here, and actually get metal. There's a lot of different options from this spot, which make it a little bit more style. And of course, it's completely near the mid map as well, which is really nice. The next spot is very similar to the one that I just mentioned over here on this house, but however, you're going to be landing at this wolf's head. The benefit of this compared to the previous one is you normally get a little bit more chests on average per game. You also can go ahead and get barrels, so if you have a little bit of a hard time getting shit all of the other spots, it's really good for it. And of course, you're going in from a different angle. You're going to be third partying this main building from the back, which normally is a little bit better, rather than coming over this way where you're going into the construction site. It's a little bit awkward. And again, you can do the exact same thing as before. You can farm up loads of mats. And also, I should mention, this spot is actually a really viable solo split. You can actually basically split like this, as you can see, loot this entire area, basically every single game, maybe even get this bridge as well. And it's a very good solo spot as well. But literally all you're doing is landing on this wolf's mouth underneath right here, getting a load of barrels, and then very quickly third partying into Crime City and getting very free kills, because of course you've got that mat advantage every single game. And the final spot of this video is one that I actually mentioned in my last video on drop spots, if you guys watched it, but is of course this little area towards the left of Magic Mosses, just below the floated frogs. And the main benefit of this spot is literally just look how many chests there are in this area, as well as just all the materials that you want in this little area right here. And you're normally going to be getting all of this every single game to yourself, which is really, really nice, especially in ranked and things like that. You'll be getting an insane amount of loot every single game. Again, the main benefit of landing at the spot is you're right next to Lone Wolf Whale right here, Brutal Box Guards, you want a third party, Magic Mosses, as well as this underground area right here that you can very quickly get to. And it is genuinely really, really fast looting up, and you can easily play this in a solo cash cut or in a solo finals, for example. You can very easily land at this spot. Again, all these video spots that I've mentioned throughout this video, you can easily adapt them into a trio split, like literally just grab a little bit of the extra loot to the side and you can turn them into trio splits very easily. They're all very viable for that, apart from a couple of them. And you're gonna go check out Assyrian. I'll leave a link down to it below. It's what I've been using the whole way through this video, where you can basically, you know, show everything on the map. You can show all the drop maps for people, you can show death maps. And also the very nice thing with Assyrian is you can easily and instantly create a drop map for any spot that you're landing at. So I'll just quickly do it for this PR, as you can see. And it basically gives you a really nice outline with markers adjusted for height for everywhere. That's basically going to give you a perfect drop for this spot right here, minus a couple that are a little bit off.